Now let's say the market crashes and we go into a recession like we did back in 2008. If that happens, that means a lot of people are going to lose their jobs and a lot of people are going to lose their buying power. Now that we're past the midpoint of the year, it's about that time we need to ask ourselves, should we buy a home now or should we wait until 2023 to see what happens with the real estate market? Also, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so you can be notified when I come out with more real estate content in the future. The first thing we need to do is to take a look at what the real estate market is doing right now. According to the Mortgage Bankers Association, the number of mortgage applications has actually dropped 6.5% from where it was in the previous week. This has actually been a pretty common theme ever since the government raised the interest rates. In fact, the number of mortgage applications is apparently at its lowest level in the last 22 years. So to translate all of these numbers, buyer demand is going down. Now let's get to the good part. What exactly are home prices doing? Are prices going up or are home prices going down? Well, let's take a look at the stats for my market, which is the Chicagoland real estate market. According to Chicago's MLS, the number of closed sales is actually decreasing, which makes sense with all the data we've seen so far from the Mortgage Bankers Association and the NAR. The average home sale, however, is actually still increasing. So even though there's less activity going on in the real estate market so far, home prices are actually still rising. The real interesting stat I found, however, is the number of new listings or the number of new homes that are coming on the market for sale. As you can see, this number is actually at a sharp decline, especially when you compare it to last year. So even though the number of buyers and the buyer demand as a whole is decreasing, the number of new homes coming on the market is also decreasing. And you know we've already had a problem with the inventory of homes being so low, and with less homes coming on the market, this problem is actually getting worse, which is leading home prices to rise. Back to my original question. Should you look to buy a home now or should you wait until 2023 to see what happens with the real estate market? Well, of course, this varies depending on your situation, but here's my personal opinion. If you have a pressing need to buy a home and your only excuse or your only reason for waiting is to see what happens in 2023 and the hope that prices drop, you might want to just suck it up and buy what you can right now. This is my reasoning. From looking at the numbers, if the real estate market continues on the path that it's at now, home prices actually aren't going to decrease. And the inventory of homes isn't getting better. It's actually going down. As long as that inventory for homes stays low, home prices are going to continue to increase because there's just not that much out there for sale. Here is my second reason that you should maybe consider buying a home now if the only reason you're waiting to buy a home is to see if home prices will drop. Now, the only way home prices are really going to drop is if the U.S. market as a whole crashes. Now, let's say the market crashes and we go into a recession like we did back in 2008. If that happens, that means a lot of people are going to lose their jobs and a lot of people are going to lose their buying power. They're no longer going to be able to buy a home. That's going to include you. You're also going to lose your buying power. It's going to be harder to get a loan and not as many people will, quite frankly, be able to afford a home because the market would be going through some hardships. We'll be going through a recession. When people say that they are waiting for the market to crash so they can get a home at a lower price, it's almost like they're assuming that the market crash or a recession isn't going to affect them at all. Now, if you know that that's true for you, then by all means, maybe you should wait and see what happens because, hey, maybe the market will crash and maybe home prices will lower. But for most of us, if the U.S. market crashes, we're going to be in trouble as well, and our buying power isn't going to be as strong as it is right now. There's no point in waiting until the real estate market crashes only to find out that now we can't buy anything. That's why, once again, if you have a pressing need to buy real estate, I would just look to buy something now before prices get any higher. You might not be able to get your forever home or that investment property that you dreamed of, but this way you at least get your foot in the door and you can start building up equity. And when you are ready to buy your property that you want in the future, you would be in a better position. You have to remember, as long as the supply of homes stays low, home prices will continue to rise. And if the U.S. market as a whole crashes, everyone's going to lose their buying power, including you. So unless you got a lot of cash stored away for a rainy day, I would suggest you think about buying a home now rather than wait.